The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, make sure you guys smash that like button and definitely take the time to subscribe. Right now, just chilling in the backyard, enjoying the beautiful South Florida sunlight. You know, not everywhere is like this, so I really do appreciate being home in South Florida. But listen, man, wanted to talk about Demetrius Andrade, his next fight, save the date, November the 19th, out there in Manchester, New Hampshire, of all places, Manchester, New Hampshire. Demetrius Andrade will be taking on Jason Quigley. Now, this isn't the fight that we asked for. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this wasn't a fight that I really clamored for as a boxing fan, but I'm just happy that Boo Boo Andrade is gonna stay active, because right now, he's in a position in his career where he's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't, because if he doesn't fight at all, people are gonna say, well, Boo Andrade should be staying match fit. He should be staying active so that he could keep his name relevant in the 160-pound division and in and potentially a Canelo fight, right? But then if he fights someone like a Quigley that's the only opponent that's truthfully willing to get in the ring with him, then people are saying, well, he's fighting Uber drivers, he's fighting these DoorDash workers, so you can't really please everybody. But I'm glad he's in the ring. This isn't a fight that I'm surprised that happened, because Jason Quigley, I was there live in the flesh when Jason Quigley had that war with Shane Mosley Jr. And after the fight, when he beat Shane Mosley Jr., he called out Boo Boo Andrade. So I do respect Quigley a lot, because a lot of fighters who have belts, who are more talented than Quigley, who are of higher caliber than Quigley, these guys find every reason not to fight Boo Boo Andrade, as to where with Quigley, he's finding every reason to fight Boo Boo Andrade. So I'm going to tell you this about Jason Quigley. I've been watching Jason Quigley for about 5 years now, 5-6 years, and he comes to fight, and he always leaves his heart in the ring, win, lose, or draw. So he has my respect a lot more than a lot of the top fighters, just for having the balls to step in the ring with Demetrius Andrade. And look, contrary to popular belief, Quigley is not a bad fighter. This is a guy that, as an amateur fighter, he was Irish Olympian. He was someone that I believe he won silver in the 2008 World Championships or something like that. I know that him and Demetrius Andrade both fought in the same 2008 World Amateur Championships, in which Demetrius Andrade won a gold. I believe Quigley won a silver, or he might have won a gold himself. I don't remember if it was silver or gold or bronze, but I know he had a good amateur career. He was highly touted when he came into the pros. That's why Golden Boy signed him. That's why Golden Boy hyped him up. That's why Golden Boy Promotions at one point was actually trying to get Quigley a fight with Canelo, because they felt like, you know what, maybe this guy Quigley was good enough to fight a guy like Canelo at one point in time. Now, people can make it that what they want, but Golden Boy Promotions was trying to get Quigley in the ring with Canelo. It's a fact. So if he was good enough to get in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, he can't be that bad of a fighter. And I've seen him fight some good fighters, some tough fighters in his career. And I'm not gonna sit here and say he's an A-level fighter. I'm not gonna sit here and act like this is the fight I wanted to see. But it's a decent fight. It's a decent fight, and it's a good stability fight for Boo Boo Andrade. Now, as far as Andrade, look, from his perspective of things, what could Demetrius Andrade do to create more demand for these big fights? That's the question I think every boxing fan that's following his career wants to have answered, because when he was at 154 and he was knocking out these guys like Willie Nelson and Brian Rose and looking spectacular in every single fight, he couldn't get fights. Now he's at 160 and he's having performances where he's winning convincingly, but they're not as spectacular as what people are accustomed to seeing. So now, a lot of people have called into question, does he really deserve these fights? So he's been not getting fights when he was looking spectacular, and he's not getting fights even when he's less spectacular. So the only thing Demetrius Andrade can do at this point is just win. Just win. That's all you gotta do, is just win, and it'll be what it's gonna be. It's kind of weird that this fight's in New Hampshire, because Demetrius Andrade's in Providence, Rhode Island, and they're in the New England area, so they couldn't make the fight in Boston. New Hampshire's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I know this because I myself used to live in New Hampshire. I used to live in Nashua. Shout out to the Gate City, Nashua, New Hampshire, 603, stand up. Yeah, so I don't know why Eddie Hearn put the fight in Manchester. I like Eddie Hearn, and I think he's a great promoter, but I really think he lacks the understanding of how America works, because Manchester, New Hampshire, as far as the region of New England in America, because New England, for those of you who don't know, New England is Massachusetts, Connecticut, Vermont, Rhode Island, Maine, and Connecticut. and Massachusetts. Like those states, that's all the region in New England. And New Hampshire's kind of like, it's way up there. And it's in the middle of where Boo Boo Andrade is from. He's from Providence, Rhode Island. So this fight would have made more sense to happen either in Boston or Providence, Rhode Island. But look, it's happening. A lot of people have been messaging me saying, BT, True School, are you going to be going to the fight? Right now, I'm in the process of trying to figure that out. So I'm trying to go there to that fight, and then the next day go to Crawford versus Porter. But that's going to take something special, something legendary. So we'll see how it happens. But I do have every intention of going to Boo Boo's next fight against Quigley. And look, I think it'll be a good fight. I think Quigley has the kind of style where he's going to put the pressure on Boo Boo. He's going to come to win, because you got to understand, it's easy for me and it's easy for you to criticize any boxer, because we're not the ones in the ring fighting. But Quigley's the guy that's been boxing his whole life, been a top flight amateur, been a guy that was highly touted in the pros. And sometimes, look, you get these guys that were highly touted in the amateurs, and they come to the pros and they underperform for a long time, and then all of a sudden they get that one big fight and it all comes together for him. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case for Quigley, but you can never write off any fighter, because any man with the balls and the determination and 2 arms and 2 legs has a chance to win in the ring. But ultimately, I think Boo Boo Andrade is a class above him, and I think maybe he'll have a little bit of success in the middle rounds, maybe in the early rounds, but eventually I just think the versatility of Demetrius Andrade, the skills of Demetrius Andrade, the underrated and very subtle power of Demetrius Andrade, it's going to be to his detriment. He's going to find out why Demetrius Andrade won the 2008 World Championships. But listen, Quigley's been very respectful. I can't say anything bad about him. Quigley said in this interview with IFL TV after his last fight that Boo Boo Andrade was a fighter that he looked up to as a young fighter coming up in the amateurs. So this is a chance for him to knock off, when they say, what did J. Cole say? When your idols become your rivals, it's one of those situations where an idol is becoming a rival. Demetrius Andrade was a top dog in the same amateur class as him, and now he gets a chance to not only just knock off one of the guys that was the top dogs in his amateur class, but also to become a world champion. And that's the beautiful thing about boxing. I can say what I want to say. You can say what you want to say. The world can say what they want to say. But the only thing that really matters is what's going to happen on November 19th with Jason Quigley and Demetrius Andrade. I'm looking forward to it. I really think it's going to be an entertaining fight. You're going to have some good fights on the undercard. You got Julio Cesar Martinez taking on McWilliams Arroyo in a fight that's been scheduled on like 2 or 3 different cards and got canceled. That's a great that's a great fight for the flyweight division. You got Mirja Akhmadaliev making his return to the ring at 122. So there's good fights on the undercard. The main event, I believe, style-wise, the styles of Quigley and Boo Boo will mesh very well. And listen, if you're Boo Boo Andrade, for me at this point, he's gonna have a lot of eyes on him for this fight. More in my opinion, I believe when that fight week rolls around, he will have more eyes on him than we're accustomed to seeing because of the fact of what's happened with Canelo. This is the first time he's fought since Canelo Alvarez had that infamous press conference where he called him a horrible fighter. Canelo since doubled down on calling him a horrible fighter. So, it's just a chance to really make an impression to the boxing world, to maybe some Canelo fans that might tune in, and maybe start to win some fans of his own. And people might, if he can perform well here, maybe people might start to see why people like myself rate Demetrius Andrade so highly. Because like I say, man, I really think when it comes to fighters between 160 and 175, I think the hardest puzzle to solve in that division, it's not Canelo, it's Demetrius Andrade. And if anybody disagrees with me, then please feel froggy and leap to sign a contract. That's all I ask. I don't care who wins. I don't care who loses. At the end of the day, I just want to see these fights. And saying that a guy is a horrible fighter and that he's fought with nobody, not only is it disrespectful to the fighter not only is it disrespectful to Demetrius Andrade, who's been a 2-weight world champion, undefeated, and he was a U.S. Olympian, it's also disrespectful to all the other guys that have put their blood, sweat, and tears in the ring, And a lot of the guys that Boo Boo have fought guys on Canelo's resume. So does that mean that guys on Canelo's resume don't mean anything? Because there's guys on Boo Boo's resume that have fought guys on Canelo's resume, and most of them have lost, but they've had close competitive fights. So are the guys as Daniel Jacobs and Billy Joe Saunders, nobodies. These are things that the Canelo fans and Canelo himself should think about. But listen, enough of that talk. Demetrius Andrade, Jason Quigley, November the 19th. We got a fight. Looking very forward to it. Much respect and God bless the Irish Warrior, Jason Quigley, for having the balls to do what Jamal Charlo, Gennady Golovkin, Ryota Murata, and Canelo all refused to do, which is fight the killer from Providence, Rhode Island, Demetrius Andrade. So, yeah, man, I'm going to leave it at that. You guys, let me know what you think about the fight. What chance are you giving Jason Quigley? You know, I think he's going to come to fight. I think he's going to be a very, very game opponent, and I don't think he's going to go down quietly. He will come to knock Demetrius Andrade's head off, and he will give his best efforts. And it's gonna be at the boo-boo to show everybody why people like myself think so highly of him. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys take care. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.